Ethan Cole had exactly 43 minutes to make it to the restaurant. He checked the time again, as if staring at it would somehow slow it down. It didn't. The numbers blinked forward with quiet indifference, counting down the minutes he was already losing. "Dad, are we late?" Lila's voice came softly from the back seat. Ethan glanced at her through the rearview mirror and forced a small smile. "Not yet," he said. "We're fashionably on time." Lila raised an eyebrow, far too perceptive for her 8 years. "That means late, right?" Ethan chuckled. "Only if we don't make it in the next 40 minutes. It was supposed to be simple. Dinner. Just dinner. A small celebration at a quiet restaurant on the edge of the city. Nothing fancy. Nothing extravagant. Just Ethan, Lila, and a cake he had ordered 2 weeks ago with her favorite colors and a handwritten message that read, "Happy birthday, Dad." Lila had insisted on it. "You always do things for me," she had said. "This time, I'm doing something for you." Ethan hadn't argued. He rarely did when it came to her. The city stretched around them, glowing with the soft hum of evening traffic. Towers of glass and steel reflected the fading light of the setting sun, while automated transit lines glided silently overhead. Earth had changed in the last few decades. Faster. Smarter. Connected to places that had once only existed in theory. But for Ethan, life had narrowed into something smaller. Simpler. Just him and Lila. "Are you excited?" she asked. "For my own birthday?" he teased. She nodded eagerly. "Of course. I planned it." Ethan smiled again, softer this time. "Then yeah," he said. "I'm excited." The navigation system chimed. "Route recalculated," it said. "Delay detected ahead." Ethan sighed. "Of course there is." He tapped the display, searching for alternate routes. That's when he saw it. A flicker. Not on the map. Outside. A sudden streak of light cutting across the darkening sky. "Did you see that?" Lila asked, pressing her face to the window. Ethan slowed the car instinctively, eyes tracking the fading glow. "Yeah," he said quietly. "I saw it. It wasn't a meteor." He knew what those looked like. This was different. Too controlled. Too deliberate. The streak vanished behind a cluster of low hills just beyond the city's edge. The car fell silent. "Dad," Lila said softly. "What was that?" Ethan hesitated. "I don't know," he admitted. The navigation system chimed again. "New route available. Estimated arrival time. 48 minutes. They would be late. Ethan looked at the road ahead, then at the hills, then at Lila. Another decision. He exhaled slowly. "All right," he said. "Change of plans." Lila blinked. "What?" Ethan turned the wheel. "Let's go see what that was." The hills were quieter than the city, darker. The lights faded behind them as Ethan drove along a narrow service road that wound through dry terrain and scattered brush. "You're sure this is okay?" Lila asked. Ethan nodded. "We'll take a quick look," he said. "If it's nothing, we head back." "And the dinner?" Ethan glanced at the time again, then at her. "We'll figure something out," he said. Lila nodded, trusting him completely. That trust weighed heavier than anything else. They found it 15 minutes later. The crash site. It wasn't large. No massive explosion. No fire. Just a shallow crater carved into the earth. And at its center, a shape. Ethan slowed the car to a stop. "Stay here," he said. Lila frowned. "I want to come with you." "No," he said gently. "Just wait. I'll check it out first." She hesitated, then nodded. Ethan stepped out. The air felt wrong. Charged. Like the moment before a storm. He approached the crater carefully. The object at its center wasn't debris. It was a craft. Small. Sleek. Unfamiliar. Its surface shimmered faintly, like liquid metal trying to hold a shape. Ethan swallowed. Okay, he muttered. This is definitely not nothing. The craft was partially open. Not broken. Opening. As if responding to something. Or someone. Ethan hesitated at the edge. Then heard it.
A sound. Soft. Weak.
A voice. He stepped closer. Inside, the space was dimly lit, filled with faintly glowing patterns that pulsed like a heartbeat. And there, she lay, curled protectively around something small. Ethan froze. She wasn't human. Her skin shimmered faintly, shifting hues like reflected starlight. Her features were delicate, unfamiliar but unmistakably intelligent. And in her arms, a child, smaller, fragile, both unmoving. Ethan's heart pounded. Hey, he said softly. Can you hear me? No response. He stepped closer. The woman's eyes flickered open. They were luminous,
Deep.
filled with something beyond fear. Relief. You, she whispered. Her voice was strained, layered with something not quite human. Ethan knelt beside her. It's okay, he said. You're safe. The words felt strange, given the situation, but they were the only ones he had. She tightened her hold on the child. Help her, she said weakly. Ethan nodded. Okay, he said. I will. He didn't think about the consequences. Didn't think about the risks. He just acted. Getting them back to the car was harder than he expected. The woman could barely move. The child didn't wake. Lila's eyes widened as Ethan approached. Dad. It's okay, he said quickly. They need help. Lila nodded immediately. No questions. She opened the back door, making space. The drive back to the city felt longer, quieter. Lila sat beside the child, watching carefully. Is she okay? She asked. Ethan glanced in the mirror. I hope so, he said. The woman stirred. Her gaze moved between them. You stayed, she said. Ethan shrugged slightly. Didn't seem right to leave, he said. She studied him. Then Lila. Something softened in her expression. You are alike, she said. Ethan frowned. How? She looked at Lila again. You protect, she said. Even when it costs you. Ethan didn't respond, but the words stayed with him. They never made it to the restaurant. The cake waited, uncut. The candles never lit. Instead, Ethan brought two strangers into his home. And everything changed. The days that followed were complicated. The woman, who introduced herself as Saren, recovered slowly. The child, Mira, was quiet, watchful, different, but not frightening. Lila took to her immediately. Do you like drawing? She asked one afternoon. Mira didn't understand the words, but she understood the gesture. She nodded, and something like a friendship began. Ethan learned more over time. Saren wasn't just a traveler. She was fleeing something dangerous. They will come, she said one night. Ethan leaned against the kitchen counter. Who? She hesitated. My people, she said. Ethan frowned. I thought you were one of them. I am, she said. But I am not welcome. The story unfolded slowly. Saren had once been part of something powerful, important, but she had left, taken her child, and run. Why? Ethan asked. Saren looked at Mira. Because she deserves a choice, she said. Ethan understood that, more than she realized. The night they came, the sky lit up again. But this time it wasn't a single streak. It was many. Ships. Silent. Descending. Ethan stood in the yard, staring up. They found us, Saren said quietly. Lila stood behind him. Dad. Ethan turned. It's going to be okay, he said. He wasn't sure if it was true, but he said it anyway. The ships landed beyond the hills. Figures emerged. Tall. Armored. Unforgiving. They want her,
Saren said.
And you? Ethan asked. She didn't answer. Ethan stepped forward. Then they'll have to go through me, he said. Saren stared at him. You cannot stop them. Ethan shrugged. Didn't stop me before. The standoff was brief.
Tense.
The alien figures advanced. Weapons ready. Mira stepped forward. Small. Unarmed.
Stop, she said.
The word echoed, not just in sound, but in something deeper. The figures halted. Saren looked at her daughter in shock. She is more than I thought, Saren whispered. Mira turned to Ethan. You helped us, she said. Ethan nodded slowly.
Yeah, he said.
She looked back at the others. They will not harm him, she said. Something shifted. The tension. The threat. The figures lowered their weapons. Saren stepped forward. This is not your place, one of them said. Saren straightened.
No, she said.
It is hers. She placed a hand on Myra's shoulder. This is her world now, she said. Silence. Then, they left.
Just like that.
The ships rose, disappeared into the night, and the world returned to normal. Almost. Weeks later, life settled again. Different, but steady. Lila and Mira played in the yard. Saren watched them. Ethan stood beside her. You changed everything, she said. Ethan shook his head. I just missed a dinner, he said. She smiled. Yes, she said, and found something more. Ethan looked at the two girls, laughing.
Alive.
Yeah, he said quietly. I guess I did. One missed birthday, one unexpected choice, and a moment that changed everything. Sometimes, the things we lose led us exactly where we need to be, even if we never expected it.